gentlemen, it's my pleasure to represent Ms. Ulana, Suprun, Director of Humanitarian Initiatives, Ukrainian World Congress, with Mark, Suprun, International Public Initiative, Protection of Patriots, although Dmytro Logginov and Dmytro Poplavskyi will join us. They will be trainers at our two-day training. Now we will have half an hour training in application of the improved first aid kit, and will describe the program.
Від начальнику штабу з одним.
Good afternoon. I would start with the quotation. This is the only thing which we need. The medicines arrive, but the ingredients in your kit, that is what we need actually. It has a bandage, it has Silox, and the most important thing, there is such a tourniquet. Why it is so important? During the Second World War, the casualties among U.S. warriors were the level of 90%. During Vietnam War, at the level of 16%. And because we have a program which is called Combat Lifesaver, and we have developed a special course of training. Combat Lifesaver is very important because up to 60% of casualties is because of the blood wounds, and only 30% of pneumothorax, and only the rest of percentage from other wounds. And if you call this humanitarian aid, you will need another 3 months to deliver it to Ukraine because this is not certified in Ukraine. But young soldiers could be trained how to impose this thing, how to put this thing on to stop blood running. And actually, you can do this with your one hand. This will stop the blood running, and you cannot do this without special training, because without such special training, people will be unable to do this correctly. We have organized trainings, but what we need much bigger number of kits and first aid kits. Dima and Igor have hold trainings not only here in Kyiv but in ATU area. And now I would like to invite them to describe how they are doing these trainings. Good afternoon, I'm Dmytro Login. I'm representative of the Red Cross of Emergency Group. One of the activities of the Red Cross comprises the first aid and training in first aid. I won't describe the issues of customs clearance of humanitarian aid. as it was described by my colleagues. The Red Cross now provides a lot of assistance in the ATO area, both for civil population and in the areas where there is no ATO activities, but people require social and medical assistance. The Red Cross has up to 14 units of emergency assistance for those who require Medicare, for combatants and for civil population. And probably you know that in course of conflicts, a lot of civil population and journalists suffer. And our major objective now is to deliver first aid and to train people in the skills of the first aid, because up to 30% of the casualties are because of the non-delivered first aid. What is the problem here? There are only few people who understand how to provide first aid, and a bright example are those people who died in Odessa without this first aid because people around did not know how to deliver this first aid. Instead of crying, were the ambulance. The next reason is that we have a very obsolete means, obsolete equipment. For example, to stop the blood running, you have only this thing in Ukraine. It's unlike in other countries where they have much more modern, up-to-date model. The only advantage of this thing is that Ukrainian one is much cheaper. This is the only advantage. That's why our primarily purpose is to train people how to use it, how to provide first aid in combat conditions, and we clearly understand that any city in the east can become the combat place, and that's why we train people how to stop the blood running, how to provide first aid under fire. I would like to add about this medical kit, why it is so important. This is individual first aid kit for each soldier individual. This is for the first time when we have such up-to-date kits. I am one of those Red Cross members who was imprisoned, who became military prisoner in Donetsk. And the main shortcoming of many first aid kits is that all the means inside are only for one use, for single use only. And I would request your assistance in transporting these first aid kits, and the use of this first aid is not complicated, although all the things inside, they do not have analogs. This thing and this thing, Chellew, this is a specific compound which can very quickly stop blood running, and this thing, this strip, elastic strip, can stop the heavy blood running when you have heavily wounded legs or hands. And also look at these scissors. They are specifically designed for cutting clothes. When cutting clothes, you do not hurt and damage your skin. Everything is very small, very convenient for use, and actually this kit should be provided to each soldier. I am not speaking about the medical kit for a military unit. That is, each soldier should have it in his bag, just in case he is wounded alone and left alone. He will be able to deliver this first aid to himself. This is very necessary kit for our soldiers.
I would like to make a short presentation with your permission. Are there any volunteers to participate in this display? Are you ready to lie down? Yes, you will act as a proxy. As a proxy, we're not imitating any military things. You're a wounded person, and you'll be our machine gun operator. So that's what we have now and what we will have. We are sure that so the most important thing for them is to gain all the necessary knowledge of the 20K, so that we have. And usually I have shivers when they do that on the butts, put it on the butts of their guns, and it's rubber, it's water, it's sun, and this exposed on the turn-case. That's what they use and what we have, and the green corridor is available for this kind of equipment, and you'll see the difference now. Let's us have this demonstration. The most important thing: are you alive? Yes, I am. Good, good. Which arm? What happened to you? I wounded? Yes, I am. So the right. Let's do it with the right, and just keep the time. I'm nervous. I have some tremor because.
Накладываю я, как говорится, не.
And it's not according to the rules, and that I'm applying this turn-key. And you have to be mild on it, be easy, and we have the machine gun operator aiming at us. That's why I'm hiding behind you. I am the nurse, field nurse, and we have this military 20K. It's applied easily. It's like a noose, and then it's turned around. Can you feel the difference? He can feel the difference, and it's 2 times less time. And I have this tremor. My hands are shaking because I'm at this demonstration, and this is very close to the field conditions, so it's elementary. But for such extreme conditions, it's about seconds. It should be instantaneous, and we know that when in field conditions you cannot do anything with your fingers. It's all quite easy to apply, while your fingers are not so precise in them. Motion. I was in the Kiev city hall, and was that Kharkiv guy, 21. He was wounded right here. his chest cage. And we had to apply some pressure for 90 minutes, waiting for the ambulance to arrive. And then they took him to the hospital. Unfortunately, he perished. With this kind of thing, with this one thing, a simple thing, we could have saved his life then. We need it. We have to supply this to Ukraine. We cannot keep it in New York. People who are 21, 18, 19, they should not die because we lack such simple things. We have to provide the green corridor at the customs for such supplies that are life-saving. And I would like to beg our parliament, our cabinet ministers, our president give us the green corridor so that we can supply such things. We want our boys to live for Ukraine, not to die for Ukraine. Thank you. For you to understand that we have purchased about a ton of such things. When for the first time we discovered the kits, we understood that many things can be added in Ukraine. The 2/3 of what we have here in this kit is purchased it's all purchased in Ukraine. We have special bags because black in the field is too conspicuous. They wanted something to camouflage that. And the 2/3 are purchased, are procured here in Ukraine. The most important things that we cannot find in Ukraine, we try to find and to make this. This is from a parachute, but the parachute factories in Fedorovskyi. So it's not ours anymore. So we would like to provide this for the warriors, for the combatants, so that they can protect themselves, because they are defending us. Another thing, 1,000 of such things is too little, way too little. We need 10,000 for each person to have it, each combatant to have it. So people who live in Ukraine and have made some money, please open your purses and help us with the procurements so that we can provide each soldier with this non-lethal but life-saving equipment. And in fact, Ukraine, where's this cargo now? And what is in there? And who did you approach? Maybe some people refuse, some people promise their help. All the cargo is in New York now. There's this warehouse of the Ukrainian American organization, Protection for Four Freedoms of Ukraine. And it's by their quotas that we can keep it there. And with the smaller batches, we're sending that to some people, and we are receiving that in Ukraine. But in some cases, the customs would stop that at the border. And there were some attempts to make it one consignment and one shipment. I'm talking to the airlines who can help us there. Who did you approach with this? In the parliament, our helpers Mr. Yuri Saratuk MP, and we talked to the Ministry of Defense, but they are all saying that what's the diplomatic way to express it? The Ministry of Healthcare do not want to provide certification for this thing, and the Ministry of Healthcare in the way, basically, because those are pieces of medical equipment and they're supposed to be registered in Ukraine. It's a long story. So the Ministry of Healthcare are now hampering this process because it's very easy and they have to recognize the processes in the United States where this is manufactures. There's no bad substance in it, just believe me. And Ukraine will have this Byzantine system with the papers, with the stamps. It's terrible. It's all entangled in red tape. Just issue the order. This thing can be used in Ukraine. It should be allowed. It should be legal in Ukraine. So people should understand, and they should open this green corridor to us. I would like to say that probably there are some suspicions that we will be trying to import something that is not that legal. Everybody keeps talking, nobody is doing anything. And people who were born in the countries with less red tape, they really astonished. I am shocked, but they are 10 times as much. Go there, they are just footballing this situation. We have to do that for the anti-terrorist operation, and we have to make a special consignment or something. Each kit is 100 US. It's quite an amount, so there are some people who have purchased that. They invested their own money, they found people, and they made the procurement, and now we have this very strange thing. It looks like the country was supposed to change. We are all for unity, all in favor of a new life for the country. I understand that our leaders are too busy with the most important things, but they should have some apparatus, some assistance. Have you approached the minister? Because the minister of healthcare is quite progress. Yes, we have, and they cannot make. There's no certification. They can provide certification for just one single consignment. They cannot provide certification. So we have to put everything together, make it one shipment of 8 tons. It's 8 tons. Yes, we have to buy some things to make it 8, and then go through the humanitarian aid procedure. And now it takes 2 or 3 months, and then the simplified method, and then 4 to 5 months, and we need it right now. Yes, we cannot waste any time, not just Ukraine, but those people who are risking their lives. And we have lost enough. And there are people injured. They will have disabled people because of lack of such materials. So maybe we can provide them. Maybe somebody from the Ministry of Health should go to the manufacturing place and make a permit. Right. Now, this is not just in the US. It's NATO standard. Let's say that it's not about our Minister of Transport or Deputy Minister go to Toyota factory and make sure that the quality is assured there. It's nonsensical, and he will go there, spend a week there, come back, write a memo. It will take a month at least. What are we talking about? We're trying to emphasize that this is necessary for the military officers, but also civilians, because the problem is that the cargoes, shipments from the Red Cross, that's necessary as humanitarian aid for the people who suffered in different regions, not just in the anti-terrorist operation. This is very slow. Any questions to our guests? Council of Companies of Maidan people are concerned with this. We protests at different agencies will protest in front of the ministry, and we not just recommend, we'll make them make them give you the green corridor. So thank you very much thank you to the Maidan, because this is the most important thing for the people to understand, for the public to support, for us to have some levels of influence over the government of Ukraine. They should understand, and this should not be overlooked. Vera Nanivska. I have a commentary, and I look into the after effects of the totalitarian Soviet regime. Academically, we are talking about reforms, but reforms should take place somewhere else when reforms are drafted by experts, and at the same time we cannot do urgent things for liquidation of the institutions that are in the way of free development of our lives, and we cannot stay alive literally because of some red tapes. And this reform is the main mission of peace, but because this peaceful mission is not accomplished, we cannot win the war. This is a very interesting commentary, because people are talking about upgrade of the Ukrainian army. Everybody thinks of machinery, special machinery, lasers, satellites, and all such things. We can give this to the people, but people should know how to use it, so the trainers are not of less importance than the kid. They go together well, and they have to pass this on to the soldiers in the field. I was there as a documentary filmmaker. I know how to do that. You have to watch. It's like it's this thorax. There's special needle that you can pierce it with, and this individual starts breathing. And people think, why we have to learn that? Our boys do not need to know what thorax is and where it is. Each soldier in the United States knows how to penetrate there. It's not rocket science. This is about saving lives. Igor taught them. They all wanted to. One was thinking about the three kings, and that we know how to do that. And like in that film, I'll tell you in Russian. One important thing here, perhaps you have some questions, and maybe you don't. Is it really so that we have no similar equipment available in Ukraine? Maybe they would prefer to have a bidding procedure for domestic manufacturers. But speaking of this 20K, if we talk about a limb amputation, it takes 4 minutes at highest now with one hand, say if you're wounded, and it's a bullet. It's a targeted injury with the shelling wounds. It's easier to do that in the field, right in the field. Pneumothorax, it's when your breast cage is penetrated. It's like you can see the target in the shooting gallery, the trunk of the body. And so whatever the bulletproof jacket, there are Soviet, there are Ukrainian, German, and they can be different, but nothing to finally protect in pneumothorax. This is you can breathe through this hole. You just die to plug this hole. We have nothing, even for the paramedics. We have to find some elements that would be quite flexible. We can cut out this square, and somebody is at your side with a bulletin on his chest. We have three edges with the four, and when it goes in, goes out, and you should understand this procedure takes a lot of time. With the defibrillator, we have two defibrillators here. We put it there and here. So we have that man from Institutsky. We from the first day in the Maidan. The man had a pneumothorax on those German thorax with some liquid getting in, and we learned this in the Red Cross. This is first aid dressing, and in combat conditions in the Maidan, medical people would come to us, ask us about our education. They understood that you are not a medical doctor, and they would go away. But we stayed, and we stopped hemorrhage, and to do that. When I was a war prisoner, they also would ask me and then leave me alone. So in the field, maybe they will say something wrong. Maybe our medical doctors are against this needle going through this sport with the pneumothorax in serious conditions like a fist. Our lungs are like lung. That lung is like a fist with some air preventing him from breathing. Some people think that it is not necessary. We have to save lives, and then healthy or not healthy life, it's different. And combatants understand that they have to stay ready for combat and stay alive at least and healthy if it is possible. So thank you very much. This is about health, this is about lives of the people. Thank you very much. I hope that journalists present here will convey the message and will cut the red tape so that we can save our boys, their lives. Thank you.
О, це Уляна знає весь перелік.